making TV special.
Made with creamy butter.
And you know what that means. It's happening. I can feel it.
Yep.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this end-of-the-year episode 199b from MediaMonarchy.com. My name is James Evan Pilato. I'm your host and webmaster of the site and show, Media Monarchy, your source for alternative news, politics, conspiracies, and cover-ups since 2005 with the website and 2006 with the radio show. And the way I want to start off is to tell you that today I was unable to do my live show at the Portland Radio Authority because we were doing a little maintenance and actually changing ISPs, internet service providers, and hopefully it's all now squared away and we're going to have a much better stream and signal for folks. But unfortunately, that had to happen during my live shift today on December 31st, 2010, the year we didn't make contact. But I just want to take a few moments here to thank Mike and Saffron and some of the other folks who help run Portland Radio Authority, PRAradio.org. That's been the original home of Media Monarchy, the radio show, since the very beginning, going back to the end of October 2006. So we're now 4+ years into the radio show, and again, we're now just mere days away from a landmark 200th episode coming up next week, January 7th. So again, unfortunately, wasn't able to do the live 200th episode today due to circumstances that were beyond my control, and of course, that's the key to life, is figuring out the things that aren't in your control, and of course, Mercury is in retrograde, so I shouldn't be surprised about anything falling through at the last moment. But again, just want to give a huge thanks to Portland Radio Authority and all the folks that help run that and keep spreading this information. Also, thanks to my man Jeff Simmons, who broke away and started the amazing radio23.org. He was the guy who first took me into the Portland Radio Authority, showed me the booth, showed me how everything kind of ran, and I was off to the races. So again, huge thanks to those folks. So we didn't have a live show today, and we did not have a live show last week. Of course, last week being Christmas Eve, and everybody deserves a little time off, even hardworking folks in the alternative, independent, non-commercial media. However, there were things in the meantime that hopefully would keep you well satisfied, and the first would be my latest mixtape. I think it's the best one I've made. It's mixtape number 7, Winter Wonderland and the Best of 2010, featuring music from Janelle Monáe, Menomina, Grinder Man, the Social Network soundtrack, the Tron soundtrack. We've got the books, Girl Talk, Vampire Weekend, Chick Chick Chick, The New Pornographers, Tricky, the drums, Surfer Blood, Gorillas, tons and tons of stuff. It's all sequenced really well. I think it really flows. Like I said, I think it's probably the best mixtape I've put together, and it's a lot of my favorite music of 2010. Again, for folks, I've got a college radio, non-commercial, indie radio background, and that's essentially what I've done with Media Monarchy, is figured out how to take those kind of tricks of the trade of making interesting, compelling, fun, loose, thrilling, provocative, alternative media in a college radio setting, but have transferred that over to the world of alternative media. Again, just briefly, my quick story was, as the music director at a college radio station, I was the music guy, but meanwhile, 2001, 2, and 3, I started to become interested in the official and unofficial stories of 9/11 and all the other things that will lead you to. So as I was the music director, I was becoming interested in alternative media. So when I moved to Portland, Oregon in 2005 and really got the site going and then got the show going in the next year, I was able to kind of flip the two and put media, pop culture, news and politics on the front burner. All I want to say is check out the latest mixtape. Again, if you subscribe to the feeds, you'll get everything. Feeds.feedburner.com/Media Monarchy. You'll get the audio and these videos and the PDFs and all the other things that come out of the alternative media kingdom. One of the other things we had last week in lieu of a live show was the publication of what I think was an amazing interview with Henrik Palmgren of Red Ice Radio. RedIceCreations.com had me on to discuss WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, and the Pirate Party, and we discuss all the bizarre intelligence connections going back to Julian's upbringing and his involvement in a strange cult that perhaps had forced LSD tests and lots of other bizarre things and perhaps intelligence connections. jumping to the present day, even his ensnarement on these rape charges connect to someone named Ann Arden working with possible anti-Castro Cubans ensnaring Julian Assange. And just, we lay out a lot of the things, and I guarantee this interview has things you're not going to hear anywhere else. That first episode I refed out through the feed, so again, if you're a subscriber, you've already gotten it, you've already heard it, and a huge thanks and hello to anybody and all the folks that we did pick up from being affiliated with such an amazing site and show like redicecreations.com. So that first hour is available for everyone, but something Red Ice does, and what I think is a great idea and key to their sort of business model and the way they do things, first hour's for free, the second one's going to cost you. If you become a subscriber to Red Ice Creations, you get access to their archives where the second hour of their shows continues the discussion or goes on to discuss all kinds of things that you don't get in the first hour. So in this second hour, we discuss our own Portland tree bomber here. Sweden had their own terror event. Henrik discusses that as well. And we get into the TSA and the police state measures here in the U.S. And we even briefly touch on the bizarre tale of the Quades and the Star Whackers. Again, trying to put more media in the monarchy. So that second hour is not available unless you are a Red Ice subscriber, and I'm not going to break that deal. However, I did give a copy to zeropointradio.com. So if you tune into zeropointradio.com, again, just one of the many fine affiliates that carry and rebroadcast MediaMonarchy.com, that's the one other place you'll be able to listen to the exclusive subscriber second hour of my interview with Red Ice Creations. So I suppose before we move on, I'll just take this moment to, as long as we're discussing the alternative media outlets, and again, Media Monarchy originates generally from the Portland Radio Authority, although we're here in the home studios of Media Monarchy. We also want to mention zeropointradio.com, as we just did. Huge thanks to them. They've helped take Media Monarchy higher and higher over this last year and plus. So huge thanks to them. And of course, the Revere Radio Network, the worldwide home of free speech. They were the second network to pick up Media Monarchy. I think going back all the way to episode 20, back in, again, probably early 2007. But we also want to thank freeradioolympia.org, berkeleyliberationradio.net, oneskyradio.com, kbu.info, radio23.org, 89.9 FM, Patriot Radio in La Mesa, Texas, Ground Zero Radio out of Canton, Georgia on stickam.com/Ground Zero Radio, the folks that replay the audio of New World Next Week, and all the folks out there who just help spread this information. Again, you don't have to ask. It's all fair use. It's all public domain. I don't lay claim really to any of this stuff. I just use it and collect it and collate it and cross-reference it and hopefully give it to you in a way that makes sense. So speaking of the New World Next Week, we had a little bit of a break, and we'll also be off for next week. NewWorldNextWeek.com, the weekly video series between myself and James Corbett of CorbettReport.com, where we go over 3 stories. This most recent episode, we do our best to do a brief rundown of the year that was 2010. First, the year the internet went to war, which we're going to get into on cyberspacewar.com. And the second story about more banks failed in 2010 than any year since 1992, which traces back, of course, to the savings and loan crisis, which traces back, of course, to BCCI, which traces back, of course, to Iran-Contra, and drugs and the military and the old boys, as so many things do. We also have the latest episodes from my man James Corbett of Corbett Report, Social Engineering and You, as well as the 2009 video archive, which you can listen to just the audio, but you can also, and we implore you to do so, purchase a DVD from CorbettReport.com. And again, your support helps keep all these alternative media outlets going, such as our fine friends at peacerevolution.org. Their latest episode 16, The 7 Arts of Freedom, features an interesting lecture from the mysterious man known as Manly P. Hall, and it's just another great piece of work from Richard Andrew Grove and the TragedyandHope.com crew. And in addition to some of the amazing things that you will hear within that episode, is something we'll now mention to you here as well, as my man Richard announced it. coming very soon next year, a joint venture between Media Monarchy and TragedyandHope.com, is navigatingnetflix.com. The website is now live. You can hop on there and check it out. And it's going to be a show coming very soon featuring myself as sort of host and moderator and guests coming from the TragedyandHope.com community in the group that we have there set up by Lisa Arbacheski called Navigating Netflix, where we figure out better ways to use the amazing resources that are on Netflix but just aren't marketed or noted or labeled as such that you can really find things decently. Of course, you can find all the other junky stuff they're just going to put up in your face, but they have amazing documentaries and films and shows, and the selection only grows and grows. So again, I'm a longtime film buff, and something like this is going to be exciting. I'm needless to say, I'm really, really stoked about it. So again, coming soon, navigatingnetflix.com. And again, huge thanks to all the folks at TragedyandHope.com. Let's briefly mention also the latest work from a man, Clyde Lewis of GroundZeroMedia.org. He does a live show every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Pacific time on KUFO 101.1 FM here in Portland, Oregon, hitting massive Portland metro area and beyond. His most recent episodes, Dark Christmas, and also 2011 Childermass, which featured someone we had on episode 199 of MediaMonarchy.com. That would be Tracy Twyman.com, discussing the fact that so many of these things seem to be like a Mobius strip, like we've done it all before and we're seeing all this again. And the same way it felt going into 2010 is the same way it feels going into 2011. It feels as though it's Groundhog Day. And that Clyde's take is that we've essentially almost been stuck in some type of loop since the catalyzing catastrophic events of September 11th, which, of course, 2011 will bring us the 10th anniversary. I'll take a breath, my friends, and as we bring a close to this first segment on this special audio-video edition of B-Side episode 199 from MediaMonarchy.com, just a huge thanks to all the folks out there who made this such an amazing year. This year, Media Monarchy grew a lot bigger than I ever thought it would, and again, it's essentially a one-man band, so it can only grow as much as I'm able to lift the weights and make it move. But thanks to, as we'll see, my man Alan posting on cyberspacewar.com. And, of course, thanks to all the amazing friends on Facebook.com/MediaMonarchy, all the people now on Twitter that were using Twitter.com/MediaMonarchy, a whole heck of a lot more. Just all those amazing ways and all the amazing alternative media outlets and sources and folks that are turning on to this information. And again, we're going to use these tools and these bells and these whistles as long as we can and while we can to the best of our abilities and to the utmost that we can do it. Your support helps keep alternative media going. The donation button is on the top of MediaMonarchy.com. Thanks to all the folks throughout this year who have donated, some small, some generously large, that again can help us pay for the domain names and pay for our DJ dues and get some Skype credit and all the other things that pop up. I had to get a new mixer and just those kind of things I wouldn't be able to really do if I didn't have the support of the audience out there. So again, my friends, I will implore you, if you find this valuable, if you find independent, non-commercial, non-corporate, commercial-free media valuable to your life, if you find it helps you learn about things, and again, hopefully the way James Corbett and I work well together is weekly we break down the news for you and give it to you in a way, like my man Richard Grove says in the latest Peace Revolution episode, cross-referenced with the text and the subtext and the context to help it all make sense for you. And again, we're all still in the cave, the allegory of the cave. It takes you coming back into the cave to tell us what's going on. And again, as we'll hear at the end of the episode, I may have been born yesterday, but I stayed up all night. We're all trying to learn and grow, and again, no one can do it on their own. No one has a monopoly on any of this kind of information. No one has it all put together. So as we bring an end to this first segment of this special audio-video version of episode 199b from MediaMonarchy.com, again, I'll just give a huge thanks to all the folks out there who have helped make Media Monarchy go and go and grow and grow, and I appreciate it.